Two Chairs, No Waiting, episode number 810. Golden Arm and a Hungry Mother. Two Chairs, No Waiting is brought to you by the folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out all the fun things they have there. And the scary ones too. weaversdepartmentstore.com. Hello, everybody. Well, it's that time of year again. Time for our Halloween spooky episode. We're going to start the season just like we always do with a story from Andy that we all love. I know you're going to love it because we always do. So let's head over and hear from our friend James Dodson, who performs as Andy at Mayberry events now, as he tells us the story of the Golden Arm.
Listen. You hear that? That's a hoot owl. That reminds me of a story. A long time ago, right in these very woods, there lived an old hermit. And they say that buried right here in these woods, there was this hidden treasure. And this old hermit used to look for that treasure day and night. And one night, he went into a real dark cave looking for the treasure. And suddenly, there were two eyes looking at him, burning like coals of fire. And the old hermit reached out his hand and he touched something furry. And the thing went, "Arr!" It was a bear. It bit his arm off. The old hermit took out his knife and he killed the bear with his other arm. And while he was stumbling around trying to get out of the cave, he found the treasure. He took it and he bought himself an arm to replace the arm he had lost. And it wasn't an ordinary arm. It was an arm made out of pure gold. Many years later, when the old hermit died, a thief who had heard about this golden arm came and stole it. And then a strange thing happened. When they came to get the old hermit to bury him, he was gone. He disappeared. And they say right today he's looking for that golden arm. Without it, he can never be buried. And he's looking right here in these very woods for his golden arm. And you can hear him at night. You can hear him saying, "Who stole my golden arm? Who stole my golden arm? Who stole my golden arm? You stole my golden arm." Well, that's it. There's your ghost story. Now let's get some sleep. Let's get some sleep so we can get up real early.
Yeah, now remember, boys, that was just a story. That's all it was.
Yeah,
Nothing to be frightened about, right, Ange?
That's right. Yeah. Now let's get some sleep so we can get up real early.
I hope you like that story. So we've gathered at the campfire to tell more stories. I thought this would be a good one because it's not Mayberry related, but it's definitely something that I've always wondered about. You see, every year when my wife and I are heading back from Mayberry days or anytime we travel up to Mount Airy, North Carolina, We always drive through this area just outside of Withville, and before we get to Abington, where we can actually see this place called Hungry Mother's State Park. I've always wondered what that meant. Hungry Mothers. Strange name for a park. So, since I've been trying to find out what it meant, I thought I'd share it with you because I thought maybe you might wonder too. See, the story goes that Hungry Mother State Park, it might seem like just another peaceful Blue Ridge retreat designed to happily engage vacationers, and the sparkling lake and the hiking trails. It's got a beach there of the lake and cabins and campsites and the mountain air. It's all delightful. But behind this serene landscape lies a powerful story of survival and resilience that shaped that beloved park. Walking through the park's winding trails, you can lose yourself in nature's beauty. Smythe County, in my opinion, is one of the most scenic spots in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains. But I gotta remind myself, every step there is steeped in history. A legend whispers through those trees and passes down through the generations, giving the park a almost mythical atmosphere. So this story begins in the late 1700s, during an intense conflict between the Native American tribes of the area and the European settlers. In a raid by the Shawnee warriors on the settlement along the New River, entire villages were just wiped out. The settlements were just gone. And all those taken captive, don't know what happened to them. But among those was a lady named Molly Markey and her young child. Now, what Molly went through was truly harrowing. Captured and taken from her home. She faced unimaginable hardships. But Molly, she had grit. Desperate, she seized on the very first opportunity she had to escape with her child, and they fled into the wilderness of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Hurrying along a creek bed to evade detection, surely the creek would lead her to safety. But getting away was just the first bit of her trouble. The vast expanse of the mountains was both refuge and a challenge. There were ample hiding places, but she had neither food nor weapons. For days, they navigated the rugged terrain, surviving on wild berries. And like most mothers, I suppose Molly would have fed her child first and then eaten whatever was left. Her fear and anxiety, it must have been intense. Each step they took was a battle against hunger and fatigue. As they wandered, Molly's strength began to fade. Despite the journey's toll, she pressed on, fueled by the hope for her child's safety. But the wilderness, it can be unforgiving. Eventually, she could just go no further. She collapsed at the base of a mountain that's now known as Molly's Knob. Now, the story doesn't end there. It's said that Molly's child, desperate for help, stumbled down the creek until she finally found a small settlement. Exhausting and starving, the child could only utter, "Hungry mother." Well, moved by the child's plight, the settlers formed a search party and followed the creek back to Molly. They found her lifeless body at the foot of that mountain. Now, later, the creek that was followed by that child was named Hungry Mother Creek, where sometimes when the moon is full or on Halloween at dark, if you listen real close, you can still hear that child crying, coming from the woods along the creek, saying, "Hungry mother, hungry mother." I'm sure you'd like to go camping there now. But that's where the name of Hungry Mother State Park came from. So, if it was enough to name an entire park about it, I don't think I'm going to go out in those woods at night and listen during a full moon or Halloween, because I certainly don't want to hear a voice saying, "Hungry mother." Yeah. So you probably want another story. I've got one more. Hope this one won't be too scary. It's about this man. He was from California, and he had decided to go camping up near Fancy Gap, up on the Blue Ridge Mountains. He had a great weekend, but when it was time to head home, he realized that his car battery, well, it had died. His car wouldn't crank. And he seemed to remember, though, from where he was up on the top of the mountain, that there was this small community several miles down the mountain that he thought he could walk to in a reasonable amount of time and hopefully get some help. So he started walking down this mountain road. It was really more of a trail, but it was kind of a road, and he thought it'd be fine because at least maybe a vehicle would come by or something, or he'd make it down to the town and can get some help. So he started walking down there, and after a good bit of walking, it was getting dark, and so the sun went down, but the man wasn't very worried because, as he walked, he came past this old cemetery. And being a brave man, just like every other guy would be, he didn't let that bother him, but he did begin to whistle as he walked, just to avoid feeling that nervous feeling that you feel kind of tingling up your back when you walk by an old graveyard. Well, not long after he started whistling, as he was walking down that path, he heard something behind him. It was a bump, bump, bump sound. Well, at first he just decided he'd walk a little bit faster and wouldn't even worry about it. But the bumping, it sped up too. Bump, 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 bump. So as he walked faster, so did this bumping sound get faster. The man finally looked over his shoulder into the darkness, and he was terrified to see a giant coffin upright standing up on end, hopping down the trail behind him. Boom, bump, bump. Well, the man, he took off running down that trail. Boom. The coffin continued to bump behind him. Bump, bump. He ran. As he was running, he ran by a fairly small piece of wood, a log. He picked it up and he threw it at that coffin. Boom. And the coffin tipped over and hit the ground. And so the man, he just kept on running, and he ran until he thought he had to be safe, and he was out of breath. And well, he slowed down to a walk to try to catch his breath. But then he heard it back behind him again. Bump, bump, bump. Again, he looked behind him, and there it was. There was that coffin. Couldn't have been more than 50 feet behind him. And man, he took off running as fast as he could, but he kept hearing bump, bump, bump. And it motivated him to keep running, no matter how out of breath he was. Finally, he got toward the bottom of that mountain. And as he ran down through there, he found the little community he had been looking for. And the only thing open was an all-night pharmacy. It was still open. So he went running in the door. Boom, boom, behind him. He could hear it. That coffin was still coming. Boom, boom. But he ran through that drugstore door. Boom, boom. He pushed his shopping cart at the coffin, but it kept coming. Boom, right through the door. Boom, boom, into the building, right in there. And they followed him down the aisle, and he began to run. He was running in terror and throwing things. He panicked. He started picking up whatever he could throw. He was throwing things off the shelves at him, whatever he could get a hands, birthday cards, magazines, soda bottles. But it kept coming. Boom, boom, boom. The man threw a chair at the coffin, but it still just barely slowed it down. Boom, boom. Well, at last, it had cornered him in the back of that store. And desperately, he kept grabbing things and throwing at it. And he grabbed something off the shelf, a glass bottle, and he threw it, and it hit that coffin and bust open, and this cherry syrup came running out all over that coffin, all over its wood lid. And all of a sudden, the coffin just stopped and stood there. It was still. Man didn't know exactly what was going on. But it stopped moving, that coffin. Because nothing stops a coffin like fast-acting cough syrup. You see, it was a coffin, and it stopped. Well, anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed these stories and had a little bit of fun as we went along the way here. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and will sleep a little better having heard the coffin story at the end. But never forget about the golden arm or the poor mother that was hungry. So go out there and have fun. Enjoy yourself. But take these stories to heart. And always remember to carry some cough syrup with you, just in case you're chased by a coffin. I'd love to hear from you guys. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415 or email me at floyd@imayberry.com, or just head over to twochairsnowaiting.com. Let me hear your ghost story. I'd love to hear it. If you got a good one, maybe I can use it next year. Until then, everyone, Have a great Mayberry week and pleasant dreams.